announcement before the brothers leave. As far as Zakat al-Fitr is concerned, then tonight is the last night that we'll be collecting Zakat al-Fitr in this Masjid. If you haven't dealt with the Zakat al-Fitr today, then you still have a chance tomorrow at the Maktaba in Small Heath. But tonight is the last night that we'll be collecting on Zakat al-Fitr. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa ba'd. This is one that the Khatmah and this final recitation and conclusion of our recitation of the Quran, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless us ayyuha al-ikhwan this night, to reward our brother Hakeem, jazakallahu khayr al-jaza, for the juhd and ijtihad that he has had throughout this month, and maintained the qiyam and led us in qiyam. Allah Azza wa Jal reward him immensely ayyuha al-ikhwa for this beautiful qira'ah and facilitating ease with this salah and this qiyam here tonight and throughout the night of Ramadhaan. Indeed, ikhwan, we tonight have heard the last of the verses as it relates to our recitation throughout this month and our listening to the Quran throughout this month. The last of the verses of the Quran, and that, no doubt, ikhwan, it brings sadness to our eyes and it brings sadness to our hearts, that this is the end of Ramadan and we are now upon the last of the nights of standing listening to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His kitab, ikhwan, which I'm sure none of us will disagree, is azim jiddan. Book, ayyuha al-ikhwa, that Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, inna hadha al-Quran yahdi lillati hiya aqwam wa yubashshiru al-mu'minina alladhina ya'maluna as-salihat anna lahum ajran kabira. That indeed this Quran, it guides to that which is best and to the best of affairs, and it gives glad tidings to the mu'mineen, to the believers, those who work righteous deeds, that they will have a great reward. No doubt, brothers and sisters, as we stand and we listen, we indeed beseech Allah Azza wa Jal to make us from among them. And every single thing that we do throughout our lives should be revolved around seeking that great reward of Allah Azza wa Jal and preparing for the inevitable affair. Just as it was inevitable that this Ramadan would come to an end, just as it was inevitable that our listening to the book of Allah Azza wa Jal would come to an end as it relates to our lives, ikhwan, there is an inevitable reality. And that is that it too shall come to an end. And just as quickly as Ramadan began and ended, our lives and our existence, ikhwan, will soon come to that end. And that is something that each and every one of us, without doubt, ikhwan, knows, but few of us are those who really reflect upon its reality. But this was something that was at the forefront of the minds of the Salaf of this ummah. That they used to seek this husnul khatimah. They would seek a good end from Allah Azza wa Jal, and they would seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from a su'ul khatimah, from an evil end. For indeed they knew that just as easy as it is for a person to remain upon huda by following the correct means, following the correct path, seeking that guidance and that thabat from Allah Azza wa Jal, that thabat that Allah Azza wa Jal, or remaining or keeping them firm, that Allah Azza wa Jal gave to His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, وَلَوْلَا أَن ثَبَّتْنَاكَ لَقَدْ كِدْتَ تَرْكَنُ إِلَيْهِمْ شَيْئًا قَلِيلًا. If it were not for the fact that we kept you firm, then indeed you would have inclined towards them somewhat, yani towards the kuffar. And so this tabat that the Salaf of this ummah used to seek from Allah, they would ask that Allah Azza wa Jal keep them firm and bless them with the husn al-khatimah. When that companion, ikhwan, as it occurs in the hadith of Sahl ibn Sa'd as-Sa'idi radiyallahu anhu, when they were in the battlefield and they saw a man fighting bravely, rushing into the enemy, wading into them and killing them. They said that this no doubt is from the most courageous of the fighters. And they mentioned him with good in the presence of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the Messenger said, Huwa min ahl al-nar. He said that indeed he is from the people of the fire. And so they were amazed at this statement, and one of them followed him. And as they saw him fighting, this individual from among the companions saw him fighting this other individual that he observed, that the Messenger said that he is from the people of the fire. That individual from among the companions, he saw him fighting, and then he saw him get struck. And no sooner did he get struck except that he took the edge of his sword, placed it upon the ground, put the handle upon the ground, leaned upon its point, and killed himself. And so he came back to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying, Ya Rasulullah, ashhadu annaka Rasulullah. He said, O Messenger of Allah, I bear witness that you are the Messenger of Allah. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, وَمَا ذَاكَ? He said, what is that? Why is that? Yani, why are you making this statement? He said, verily the man that you said, هُوَ مِنْ أَهْلِ النَّارِ, I followed him, and then I saw him get struck, and then I saw him put the handle of the sword on the ground and lean upon its blade and kill himself. And then the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam made that statement, ikhwan, that each and every one of us must reflect upon each and every moment and second of our lives. He said, إِنَّ الرَّجُلُ لَيَعْمَلُ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ فِيمَا يَبْدُو لِلنَّاسِ وَهُوَ مِنْ أَهْلِ النَّارِ وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلُ لَيَعْمَلُ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ النَّارِ فِيمَا يَبْدُو لِلنَّاسِ وَهُوَ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ. He said that verily a man will carry out the deeds of the people of Jannah to that which is apparent to the people, that which they see, when in actuality he is from the people of the fire. And a man may carry out the actions of the people of the hellfire, فِيمَا يَبْدُو لِلنَّاسِ, in that which the people see, but he's from Ahl al-Jannah. And then the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned that qaida and that principle, وَإِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ. He said, and verily the actions are by one's last action. Verily one's actions are by one's last action. And what then will our last actions be? Will our last actions be actions of khayr, actions of ibadah, actions that bring the good pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal, actions that Allah loves and is pleased with? Or will our actions be the actions of the fajara, the kafara, evil actions, a'mal shaytaniyah? And then our lives are taken at that point and upon those actions, wal-iyadu billah. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ. The Salaf of this ummah, ikhwan, they understood that reality. On an occasion, a group of individuals from among the tabi'een, they came to Abu Darda. And Abu Darda was in salah. And at the end of the salah of Abu Darda, they heard him saying, أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ النِّفَاقِ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ النِّفَاقِ. They heard him saying, I seek refuge from nifaq and from hypocrisy. And so after the salah, they said, وَأَيْنَ أَبَا الدَّرْدَى مِنَ النِّفَاقِ أَيْنَ أَنْتَ مِنَ النِّفَاقِ يَا أَبَا الدَّرْدَى? Where are you, an-nifaq? Yani how in what way can you be considered near to nifaq? What is nifaq and hypocrisy in you, Abu Darda? And so Abu Darda, he said, Allahumma ghufrak, ghufrak, ghufrak. Allahumma ghufran, ghufran, ghufran. He said, oh Allah, pardon, oh Allah, forgive, oh Allah, pardon, 3 times. And he said, Man ya'man al-fitan, or man ya'man al-bala, man ya'man al-bala. Who is there that is free and safe from affliction? Who is there that is free and safe from affliction? He said, Wallahi, by Allah, Inna al-rajul lataftatinu bilayla. He said, by Allah, indeed a man will be struck with afflictions by night, and his heart will change by night. Verily, a man is struck with afflictions by night, and his heart changes in that very night. And so Abu Darda, this great companion of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sought refuge in Allah from affliction. Likewise, Ikhwan, Ibrahim al-Nakhai from among the Tabi'een, rahimahullah ta'ala, when he was close to the point of death, some of his students came to visit him. And when they entered upon him, they found him crying. And they found him weeping. And so they said, what is it that makes you weep? He said, I weep because of the fact that antadhiru malak al-maut. I weep because of the fact that I'm waiting for the angel of death. وَلَا أَدْرِي يُبَشِّرُنِي بِالْجَنَّةِ أَوْ النَّارِ. And I don't know if he's going to give me the glad tidings of Jannah or the hellfire. Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, when he was at the point of death, his children entered upon him. And they found him crying. And he turned his face to the wall. And he was weeping. And so they said, what is it that makes you weep? Ya abata, وَقَدْ بَشَّرَكَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ بِكَذَا. What makes you weep? Oh my father, for verily the Messenger ﷺ gave you the glad tidings of such and such and such and such. He said, by Allah, I do not weep except that I know of myself that I have gone through 3 stages. He said, I went through a stage when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was the most hated of the people to me. And there was no one that wished for him to be killed other than myself. And if I had died in that state, then by Allah I would be from Ahl al-Nar. He said, and then Allah Azza wa Jal placed Islam in my heart. And he said, when Allah Azza wa Jal placed Islam in my heart, I approached the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, O Messenger of Allah, give me your hand. Ubayyi'uka ala al-Islam. Give me your hand that I may pledge allegiance to you, to al-Islam. And so when the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam stretched out his hand, Abu Darda, he pulled his hand back. And so the Messenger said, Ma laka ya Abu Darda. Ma yaka ya Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As, he removed his hand. He said, what is wrong? The Messenger said, what is wrong? Why do you pull your hand back? He said, Ya Rasulullah, uridu an ashtarit. He said, I wish to ashtarit, I wish to lay a condition before I pledge my allegiance to Islam. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, tashtarit mada. What is it that you wish to lay down as a condition? He said, he said, I wish to lay down a condition that Allah will forgive me. So the Messenger ﷺ, he said, أَلَا تَدْرِي أَنَّ الْإِسْلَامَ يَجُبُّ مَا قَبْلَهُ وَأَنَّ الْهِجْرَةَ يَهْدِمْ مَا قَبْلَهُ وَأَنَّ الْحَجَّ يَهْدِمْ مَا قَبْلَهُ. He said, do you not know that Islam, it nullifies that which comes before it, and that hijrah nullifies what comes before it, and that hajj nullifies what comes before it. He said, and thereafter, wallahi, there was no one who was more beloved to me than the Messenger of Allah, and no one whose presence was sweeter to me. He said, and if I died in that state, then indeed I would have believed that I would be from Ahlul Jannah. He said, and I was not able to describe the Messenger because I was not able to look at him. I was not able to look him in the face. He said, and if I had died in that state, then I would hope to be from Ahlul Jannah. He said, and thereafter, affairs came to us, and we were placed in charge of affairs. And so we do not know what our condition is now. So when you bury me, and you place that dirt upon me, then remain by my grave for the period of time that it takes for you to slaughter an animal, and for you to chop its meat. Hatta astanisu bikum, that I may take something from your presence, and that I may see what the messenger of my Lord brings to me. A reality, ikhwan, that each and every one of them recognized. A reality that each and every one of them tried and strived to prepare for. A reality, ayyuhal ikhwa, that we have so much ghafla concerning, that the shaitan plays with us concerning. And as we grow older and older, then slowly but surely, ayyuhal ikhwa, the reality becomes more and more established to us. When we begin to suffer from ailments, and when we begin to see those around us passing away, that reality, ikhwan, becomes closer and closer to us. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to establish that reality in our hearts, that we act upon it. And as Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned, from the things that cause or bring about su'ul khatimah is that a person, his aqidah is sayyi'ah, that he has bad aqidah, or he makes istimrar, and he is musir ala al-kaba'ir, that he is constant upon major sins. Those are from the things that bring about that su'ul khatimah. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to bless us with a husnul khatimah, with a good end. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to keep us firm, grant us tabat upon His deen, upon the way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the salaf of this ummah. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to keep us firm upon the path of the Sahaba and not cause our hearts to be strayed, ikhwan, by the pomp and the glitter of the dunya. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to bless us and our children and our offsprings to recognize that reality. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make it easy for us in our graves, easy for us in our qubur, easy for us when that horn blows, and when we stand before Allah Al-Alim Al-Aziz. On that day that Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions, يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, the day that mankind will stand before the Lord of all the worlds. The day, ayyuhal ikhwah, that will be long and shadid. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. The day that a man will flee. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ, from his brother, and from his mother, and from his partner, and from his children. Each individual will have an affair that will burden him, that will suffice him on that day. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina.